Hey guys, wanted to give you another update. Been a couple of days and stuff has been moving quickly. Um, Trying to think of where I left off. We were doing some clavicular radiation and got that finished, and there's pain associated with it, as I explained. And then next week we were going to be starting some chemotherapy after I was done. Actually, I apologize. This week we were supposed to start chemotherapy, and so this is an update to say that chemotherapy did not get started this week, and there is some reasons for that. Um, gosh, I'm just going to start with what's happened, and then I'll piece it together for you and bring you back to a place where you can actually function this weekend if you care about me. Um, you think I'm joking. Um, so starting on starting early this week, even Monday, as I'm still getting radiation done, um, I started to have some interesting side effects going on, and they came out of nowhere, and they were occurring with my legs, and I started to feel a little bit shaky on them, and by Monday, I knew that there was something kind of interesting going on. Tuesday morning, I wake up and I'm actually concerned, because I just don't feel myself, and I feel a little bit wobbly. Um, Tuesday, I mentioned something to my dad and my wife, and we talk about it. We have a telemed appointment with my main oncologist over in Nashville, and we think, you know what, it's probably maybe some fatigue from the whole brain radiation that we had in early December, because we're still having some fatigue from that. Now, obviously, fatigue, legs, what's the connection? Well, the connection would be there was a tumor location. We treated 27 tumors in early December. There was one of those tumors that was precisely in an area that controls the motor function of my legs. And as these things die over the course of several weeks, if not months, if they're bigger, they swell. And so we're thinking maybe the swelling of that dying tumor that's specifically located in the motor function area of my legs is aggravating it. We just need to kind of wait and see what happens. Valid theory. Tuesday night, we don't rush and do anything. Wednesday, it's worse. I'm now, by Wednesday, guys, I'm I can't walk. To be honest, right now, like, I can't move my right leg. I have to lift it up, and it's very concerning. And obviously, you can imagine the fears that are running through my head, my wife's head, anybody that's attached to us in any significant way. Um, I'm actually, I'll go ahead and just be absolutely humble and debase myself entirely. That same area that controls my hip flexors, because that's what I can't lift my foot. I can like do a squat, but I can't lift it like a hip flexor. Um, it's also started to affect my bladder and my ability to urinate easily. I'll be humble and admit that. Um, and by Wednesday, by Wednesday, I was helping my wife pull in some groceries. She said not to. I thought I could help. This is really sad. I had one bag of groceries, and it was the last bag, and my 4-year-old son, who was trying to take his bag of groceries, turned around to me and said, "Dad, can you take it?" And he handed it to me. And I said, "Yeah, I can take it, buddy." And I had him in my left hand because of my right clavicle. And it's my right leg that's affected. And I tripped with my toe on my curb, and I went down, and I didn't have anything in my right arm, and I had my left hands full, and so I had to break my fall with my right arm with my clavicle that's very compromised. And so I now have a pathological fracture in my right clavicle. It now has an actual fracture. It's not just hurting me. It's actually now significantly hurting me. Um, and I tripped over a curb and I went down. So I'm just trying to give you an idea of what we're thinking and where we're at. So we speak to my radiation oncologist and he says, time out, we have to know more information. This is serious. I got in an emergent MRI. It was late. I was at the hospital in the dark Wednesday night from like 7 until 9 p.m. It was a 2-hour MRI. If you've ever had an MRI, your nose is 4 inches from the top of that tube and it's touching your shoulders. And I spent 2 hours in that tube just thinking and praying. And they had to take pictures of my brain, and then they had to do an entire study on my spine. And so they had to do it in 4 or 5 different locations, and that's why it took so long. And we found out, the next morning we went in and we found out that I have a tumor not outside of, not on a lumbar or a vertebra in my spine that's pushing on my nerve cord. I have a tumor in my spinal cord, in the fleshy small cord itself. We found a tumor right in the spot where you would have it control your motor function of your legs, specifically high up, and my bladder. And so we immediately had to put plans in place for emergent radiation to my spinal cord itself, which can be dangerous. They had to do molds of my back so that they can completely immobilize me. And that was on Thursday morning after the MRI, and we got the molds in place, and they gave me that first blast of radiation that day because it's that serious. We're talking about if we don't get on top of this, if it were to grow in size, if the mass were to grow in size, or if the swelling were to grow, it could pinch off that nerve in the spinal cord, and we're talking about paralysis. So we're moving out on the radiation, and I'm back on steroids for the inflammation. I got my radiation first on Thursday. I got a dose this morning. I'll have a dose tomorrow morning. They're bringing in the staff on a weekend to do this because time is of the essence. And then I'll follow up with 2 more next week. They want to give it a break on Sunday because they don't want it to get inflamed too quickly, too fast. They don't want to anger it. So we're going to do 3, we're going to take a day off, and we're going to do 2 more. And the idea there would be that we can stop the growth of this tumor in my spinal cord and actually have it regress. So I guess what I want to just communicate to you guys is, 1, I'm still in a situation where prayer is necessary. I can't really walk right now. We're in a situation where we need the radiation to work and have it be in the exact spot of this tumor that is very small in my spinal cord and not miss, and have it effectively shrink this tumor, and for the inflammation associated with it dying to also stay in control with the steroids. Otherwise, we're talking about potential permanent paralysis. And guys, I can't even explain how this is possible, but even as you hear me talk to you, I think you can sense that I'm not going to give into fear of this. I'm going to be raw and brutally honest with you so you know how to pray for me. But guys, this is at the hand of my God. And this did not happen outside of his control. This has not been brought about to punish me for anything. This has not happened outside of his care and wisdom and knowledge and sovereignty. This is absolutely part of what he is doing in this story in my life. And I am content and confident in that fact. And I was just spending some time in the Word this morning, just praying through and saying, God, I don't want to fear. I want you to be my confidence. And I came across something that I wanted to share with you guys. It really spoke to me this morning. And it was Psalm 112. And the righteous will never be moved. And I'll just go over here, and it says that in Psalm 112, verse 7, talks about the righteous man. It says, he is not afraid of bad news. His heart is firm, trusting in the Lord. His heart is steady. He will not be afraid until he looks on in triumph on his adversaries. And I will look in triumph on my adversaries. That is a promise. That is a certainty. And you say, well, how is that possible? Well, it's possible because I am lengthening the time with which I am allowing this promise to come true. This promise may still come true in this life, on this earth, where I look in triumph on cancer. And I pray that is so. But you know what? I will look in triumph on adversaries for certain, and that would be on my sin and on death itself. Because what happens, whether or not this disease takes my life, or I have long continuance here for many more decades, and we pray that's the case, I get to look in triumph on my adversaries, and some of those might be in the near future. It could be death and sin and the devil. And I will look with triumph on them because of nothing inside of me, because of nothing that I have done right, but because of Jesus Christ and his finished work. I can have bold confidence that I will look in triumph on those adversaries. And I pray that I get to look in triumph on the adversaries of cancer, because I want to live a long life encouraging people and testifying of the risen Savior and what he can do. And so, guys, I have bold confidence today. My spirit, for whatever reason, is uplifted and encouraged. And I want you to hear the craziness of my life and everything that's going on and everything you've heard with clavicle and fracture and potential paralysis and 27 brain tumors, and say, guys, we do not have to fear anything. And I'm not saying that because I want to just rustle up and be a strong person for someone. And you know, I'm just being truthful to who I am. And it's not who I am. It's the Spirit of Christ that I believe resides in me, that testifies of the hope that is possible in the Lord. And for the Christian, whatever you're walking through today, this weekend, I want you to have your heart be steady, to not be afraid of bad news, that your heart would be firm, trusting in the Lord. I was listening to a song earlier today. I don't want to have this go much longer, but Jesus' Firm Foundation. If you've not listened to it, listen to it. There's an excellent version on Spotify. It would be Worship Initiative, and Shane did one, I think, together. But this second verse, fear not, he is with us, oh, be not dismayed, for he is our God, our sustainer and strength. He'll be our defender and cause us to stand, upheld by his merciful almighty hand. How firm our foundation, how sure our salvation, and we will not be shaken. Jesus, our firm foundation. And you know what? You may not be a spiritual person, and that's okay. I won't cram that down anyone's throat. But what I want to do is testify of my life and what I'm walking through and my bold confidence for every single day. And I could be kicking rocks, and I could be crestfallen, and I could be prone to fear right now. But you know what? I'm just walking around with a smile on my face, knowing that I have nothing to fear because Christ has done all. So I just want to leave you with that. And I love you guys. Thank you so much for everything you've done for our family. I want to keep you in the loop. I'm sorry that these things get long, but I just get passionate about it. So, guys, God bless. Take care. We'll talk to you soon. See ya.